What's up, party people in the house? It's a weird time, but it's Dynasty War Games. We're going live today around 3 o'clock Eastern. I'm here with Captain Mike Casper.
What's up?
What's up, Mike?
Happy summer. I don't know if school's out there yet, but school's out here. So
yeah,
special summer episode for everyone, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Most of the schools are out here. I got graduation for an 18-year-old next week. That'll be fun. That'll be good times. But yeah, so it's the official start of summer. Mike and I have plans this weekend, so we're going to do this now. Unfortunately, Chad works for a living and couldn't join us in the middle of the afternoon on Friday. What the hell, Chad?
What a slacker. What a slacker. Gosh.
Yeah, so he's out breeding.
Some leave. He needs a vacation.
He's out breeding horses. Not personally.
We're getting kicked by him. Who knows?
Yeah, we're getting kicked. He's making the horses breed with each other. Wow,
anyway.
We even have somebody in chat. We got Mike Kitty in chat. What's up, Mike? God, this guy joins us no matter what. This dude is awesome.
Man, Mike, when are you going to come on live? Have we had Mike on live yet?
No, we have not. I mean, I've thrown out invitations, but
he's like so loyal. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's got to get on here sometime.
Right on. All right. So we are going to talk today about some buys, some dynasty buys, veterans, obviously, but we're going to be specific. Right. One thing I cannot stand, Mike, I'm sure you agree with me, is when you listen to a podcast and they're like, buy this guy. He's cheap. Buy this guy. He's going to be great. But for what? Yep. Should I go out and do 2 firsts? You know? Yeah. So we're going to talk through that. Some of these I agree with. Mike sent me a list. Some of these I agree with. Some of them not as much. So we'll talk through that as well. Hopefully get your reasoning. And maybe you'll win me over on some of these. I'm just going to pull up your list real quick here.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, gotcha.
I got some trade calculator pulled up for these as well, but lots of kind of detail specific and definitely, and these are team specific trades as well. So do you want me to kind of just get started into background behind some of these and start?
Well, let's go one by one. You have Alan Lazard first on your list. Actually, before we do that, what are you drinking?
So I am actually drinking something crazy. Alani, it's some energy drink. It's called Berry Pop. It's got 0 sugar though. So
that looks disgusting.
It looks really weird. But
wow, is it good?
It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. So
right on. I just had a cup of coffee and I'm sort of still recovering from my Dynasty Fever broadcast last night.
Yeah, was that a heavy one? If you know what I mean?
A couple pops and had a good time. Anyway, so I had a cup of coffee, and otherwise, I'm not drinking anything. I'm gonna. Well, also I have to drive to the beach later, so I need to be sober.
That's a first for sure.
Well, not at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, really?
Normally I am.
I would have assumed that's still first.
All right, so number one on your list is probably the biggest one you have to defend in my eyes is Alan Lazard. I mean, is it just because who else is there? Is that your whole?
Well, no. So here's my reasoning behind these right now, right? Is these are contender pieces, right? Like if you are thinking like you're a middle of the road team and you think this is going to take you over the edge, like these aren't the buys that I think you should be considering. These are where you take a look at your team, you take a look at the other, 10, 9 or 11 or 9 teams, 7 teams in the league. And you say, hey, I'm a top 3 team. Maybe you have a little bit more star power than depth. And I think depth is obviously important. As soon as camps are getting started, people are already tweaking hamstrings and things like that. So I think these are players that are really low value right now. And I think when we talk through some names, we'll get into it, but we'll talk about, down tiering, in my opinion, is what I think is going to help get these deals done, because I am not, especially in it's the end of May still, but pretty much June. In June, I'm not saying, hey, trade your 2023 first for Leonard Fournette. Like that's not something I would want to do right now. If you want to do that
Yeah.
in season when you're in the semifinals or something like that, like, hey, all power to you. But like right now, that's not the move to make, even though Fournette's on my list. So
Agreed.
that's why that's just where I'm coming from. So as far as Alan Lazard goes, okay. So who else is catching the ball there? And someone else from Green Bay is on my list too. So who else is catching the ball there in Green Bay, Jesse?
In Green Bay, well, you've got Tanyan coming off of an ACL. You've got rookies in Dubs and Watson, sorry. And then you've got Sammy Watkins. That's
right.
as many players as I can remember. I mean, I heard Memphis talking earlier this week, maybe it was yesterday actually, about how I probably listened to it yesterday, but it was Wednesday's pod. He thinks Aaron Jones is just going to catch 1 million passes this year, which is
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's why he's on my list later. We could talk about him later too. Is I think Aaron Jones is really going to crush because he can catch passes. He might be their wide receiver too,
Yeah.
If not one.
If not
and then
one.
with Dylan in the back, I think Dylan's going to get a lot of work too. But in that tiebreaker, I'm going to take the running back that catches passes. But back to Lazard, especially the way he ended the season. Okay, like he ended the season with a 24-point game, a 19-point game, a 13-point game. He did have a 4-point game, and then a 20-point game. So those were the last 5 weeks. When he
what were do you have the yardage in those weeks, or is it like mostly touchdown
75?
dependent?
So it was touchdowns too. But I mean, Adams is gone, right? Like,
Yeah,
who's gonna be the other one catching the touchdown? But I mean, to catch
that's a hard thing.
5 touchdowns in 5 weeks, but still 75 yards generally, and getting sub, 6-7 targets.
It does speak to his skill set. He's a big guy. He's a big red zone target. Yeah, I look at him as a blocking wide receiver, to be honest with you. I mean, that's kind of how they use him. But yeah, also in the red zone. And
I mean, at the end of the season, they didn't use him as a blocking wide receiver, though.
Yeah.
And like you can't deny it with Adams not there. Like, I mean, you know how Rodgers is, right? Like, if he doesn't have a connection with you, he doesn't throw the ball to you, right? Like,
True.
like what people want Jeff Janis to work out, and he was a pretty decent guy, and then he got in bad with Rodgers, and so he didn't throw him the ball anymore, right?
Yeah.
And Rodgers has spoken praises to Lazard. And the only reason I say this, right, is because how cheap he is. Okay, he's valued at a 2.3 right now, and I think we should look for Lazard now before Rodgers comes to camp, because he's having his like golfing match with Brady. So before it starts coming out like, hey, Lazard's all over the field. Well, yeah. Who else did you expect to catch the passes? Like, obviously, you want to see what Christian Watson does, and Amari Rodgers is in the best shape of his life, quote unquote.
Oh, are we in best shape of the life?
Yeah,
season?
we're in that season. Everyone.
Nice.
I think I saw a tweet that said, was it Justin Fields or it was someone's thumb? They're like, someone's thumb is in the best shape of their life. They had a thumb injury last year, and I was like, yeah, that's funny, right? So,
that's a good one.
Which that's like right around a 2023 third. But to be honest, like I would rather give like a 3rd round wide receiver rookie, or maybe there's some 4th round wide receiver rookie that gets some hype going right now, since they've already had rookie OTAs. I know like Justin Ross is getting tons of hype.
Is he?
Yeah, you didn't see the one-handed catch that he made in practice where it looked like he wouldn't have been in bounds. Okay,
unfortunately,
I don't watch a bunch either. I get lots of like.
I've already worked over 50 hours in the last 4 days, so I just have had no time for anything.
Yeah, and I get lots of update tweets, but like Mike Kinney in the chat, he's agreeing with you, saying, hey, Tanyan and Watkins are going to be the red zone threat. Like Watkins is toast, and Tanyan's coming off an injury. And
Watkins can't run anymore, and who the hell knows if Tanyan's ever going to be anything again.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot to split from what Adams is leaving behind. I want Christian Watson to work out, but it might take some time. And this could be, an early sell too. Maybe by week 4, Lazard is the guy, and he's the wide receiver 10 somehow because he's scoring all these touchdowns and just getting all these targets. And then you want to sell for a second or something like that, that's fine. But I think he's a really good depth piece that you can get.
So like third round rookie value that you hope gets up to a second round. But what we want to do here is be a little more specific, rather than just throw out what round pick you'd throw it. I'm going to throw out some names.
And, I was gonna say, you can throw out some rookies or something like that.
Yeah, I'll throw out some rookie names, and you tell me, you tell me, which side you would take. All right. So how about Tyler Beatty? Would you trade Tyler Beatty?
Yeah, I would take Lazard.
Yeah. Do you think that's enough to get Lazard, actually?
Yeah. Especially and that's the thing we want our listeners to know too, right? Is you got to check to see what kind of team Lazard is on. Is he on one of those top 2-3 teams? I mean, still poke around, but they might be asking for less. Whereas if it's a rebuilding team, they'll probably take less for him because that's probably someone they don't want on their roster, right?
Okay, cool.
So I would take him there.
Let's go a little higher. Tyler Algiers.
Algier.
Yeah.
Just with Algier, I would hang on to Algier right now because I think he's only gonna get hype and opportunity eventually.
So you would not trade Algier?
There's no one there. I wouldn't trade Algier right now. If I could get like Lazard in a third, then I'd do it. Or maybe even. I mean, if I got Lazard in a fourth, maybe. This is the season where I'm trying to get as many picks as I can going into the season instead of giving them away. So if I could add to that, or maybe, hey, Lazard in a third for Algier in a fourth, I'd be fine with that. I have to do some research here on Mike Kinney's comment because he said Watkins has had chemistry with everyone everywhere that he's been. Yo, Mike, hey, the second half, pretty much the entire season last year, he had 20 points in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games.
Wow.
So it's safe to say Watkins is done. Now, granted, he had 3 good weeks early, and I know Lamar was hurt too, but if he's had chemistry, Mike said he had chemistry with everyone, and I don't think that's true. So sorry, Mike, I'm going to battle you on that.
Well, all right. So sorry, I had to. I just went in and
anyone else?
Well, I saw Dallas is on our chat, so I just a heads up, Dallas. I posted the link if you want to join us in our YouTube chat. So if you feel like joining us, Dallas, that's cool. I just saw you were lurking. So anyway, yeah, I mean Watkins. The only way I see Watkins working out right now with Green Bay is like if he develops a sort of is Aaron Rodgers going to lead him or do that back shoulder thing, right? If he can get defenses on their toes where they can sort of have that chemistry of where's the ball going to come, you know what I mean? So Sammy Watkins is not going to get separation, so that back shoulder throw I think could be huge. And if guys start playing that, then you have the other side to throw it to, and Aaron Rodgers can absolutely play that game with anyone if they know how to play it, right? Sammy Watkins been around for a long time; he's savvy, so I could see that like possibly becoming a thing. I wouldn't count on it by any means. Yeah, I actually have cut Sammy Watkins from a couple rosters, where I had to trim down for draft picks.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And Mike says here, hey, Huntley was throwing him the ball. Like, hey, when he was with Mahomes, he had 1 20-point game, and then like he did nothing for the other 10. Right, so right. So he's even with Mahomes, Mike, come on, you gotta do better than that. Mike says Tyrod Taylor, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, if he would have had chemistry with an undrafted QB who was only brought in to replicate the offense already installed. Yeah, no, Mike. No, he wasn't good with Mahomes. I'm sorry.
Well, and that could have just been a Mahomes thing. Mahomes might, has a problem throwing short. He doesn't like to do it. especially in the beginning of last year, he was holding the ball, waiting for things to get open deep, and that is absolutely not Watkins' game.
I mean, this was 2 years ago though, when he was even,
Oh, that was 2
better,
years
I
ago
guess you could
too.
say. Yeah.
That's true.
So,
and see, he just
and
didn't.
he's hurt every
honestly,
season.
I don't think Sammy Watkins fit what KC wanted to do on offense. It was an odd signing to begin with, and he just didn't fit into their offense. He's got a better chance to fit into what Green Bay is trying to do. Although they're going to need somebody to stretch the field. Hopefully Watson and Dubs can do that. Speaking of Dubs, would you trade Romeo Dubs? Because there's a third round wide receiver for you, for Alan Lazard.
Oh yeah. What, he was like a 6th round pick, right?
I think he was 6th round.
No, I'd easily trade that for Lazard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I think we nailed that down. Right. So it's not, after Algier, any of those third rounders we'd trade, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, I keep saying that wrong. It's Algiers because I'm from Philly and we always add the S.
Algiers. Oh.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like Alshon Jeffries.
Gotcha.
We always add the S, whether the player wants to or not. So, all right, Dallas says he can't make it, so it worked. But hey, that's cool. Thanks for lurking. Thanks for being in chat, Dallas. I just thought I'd throw it out there just in case.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next player. I think we nailed that one down.
Mike Kinney, DWZ, Sammy Watkins, truther.
Nice.
Book it.
All right, so Leonard Fournette, you mentioned earlier. What?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we know why Fournette is valuable. He's the lead back on a Super Bowl caliber team.
Well, he's a top 5 back last year, right?
Was he?
I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check to make sure I'm not a disgusting liar. That's close. Sorry, 9. That's what I'm tracking.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
So he was an RB1 last year, and he's still got some youth to him. It's not like he's old as hell.
Yeah, no. Or I got him at 6. Sorry, he was RB6. My bad. Close. Yeah. So my reason, I mean, obviously, right? It's the offense. He missed the last 3 games too. Holy smokes, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So obviously, like Tom Brady led offense, right? Going to score a lot. Like they're not going to trust anybody else in the red zone unless it's at the 1 and Brady sneaks it. I don't think they're going to be throwing Rashad White out there on the goal line, right? And
probably
then
not. It's not a skill set. I mean, unless he shows something, but yeah, that's
and Godwin's slowly returning from the injury. Like it sounds like he might not even be there the first couple weeks of the season because his injury was so late. So
but they got superstar Russell Gage.
Yeah, which he's an interesting one too if you can get him cheap enough. But let me see here how many.
I would guess that you can't get Russell Gage for what you want to pay. Just because everybody's thinking the same thing on him.
But I mean, he had 84 targets and 69 receptions as an RB last year.
Yeah.
And that was with Godwin and Evans and Gronk. And Gronk's not there either. So I mean, he might. Yeah. Some of the reports I've seen is he might not, right? But I think he's got just as him and Aaron Jones are kind of almost similar to me. They're seen in that, lower tier, aging running back with an HQB in an offense that might have one or two more years in it. And I think that's perfect to go for right now.
Right on. All right. So I actually traded Fournette for a fairly high, I think it was the 104 earlier in the offseason.
Okay.
I gave something else up with it. It wasn't Gabe Davis, but it was probably a wide receiver in that range. And I got a first. I don't think that's what you're getting for Fournette.
Yeah.
What do you think? What would you give up? So let's say Fournette is on a rebuilding team and you want to give up a young player for him.
So kind of looking at it, right? Like, honestly, what I would love to be able to do is if I had, like, say, a Kenneth Walker. Oh, did I freeze up? If I tiered down from Kenneth Walker and was able, do you think you can get Fournette plus for Kenneth Walker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think you might be able to get Fournette in a second.
Yeah. Or give away Walker in a second, get Fournette in a first. If you can, right? I'm always all about that. Hey, can I bump it up from, a third to a second or from a second to a first? And I feel like I've had lots of success. People are starting to figure it out as we go into the 2023 draft, and I have lots of 2023 picks. So people don't do it with me as much anymore. But that's something that in the past was really successful to me is, hey, pairing a player with one pick and then another player, getting a player and then a round higher kind
Yeah.
of a pick. But
Yeah,
I
whenever I
think
look
it's
at your
cool.
teams, I'm like, oh, this team's stacked. He must have used all his draft picks. And then I scroll down and you got 5 firsts next year, like you do that very well in your teams, I have to say.
Yeah, I try. I just get unlucky in the playoffs, man.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah,
that's what
so
Memphis always says, right? It takes skill to make the playoffs and luck to win there.
exactly. Yeah, right. So what about well, you're a little bit lower on Cam Akers, right?
I'm not.
You're not? Okay. So from Akers to Fournette, do you think that's kind of similar tier where you can get Akers and
I'd
a
want.
second for Fournette and a third or Fournette and a second for Akers and a third?
Yeah, you could definitely get that. I don't know that I'd give that though. So and back to
You wouldn't
Walker.
give Akers for that?
No,
Or
no,
no, okay.
that's not enough for me. I don't want to give you the third.
That's
Even
fine.
though I don't care that much about thirds, I'm caring more and more every year because there were a lot of players in the third round this year, and next
Yeah.
year's a really good draft class too.
So Fournette and a second or Akers.
Yeah, that's tough. That's probably even.
Yeah.
Right, because I have way more confidence in Fournette's ability to produce this year.
Mm-hmm.
Way less competition. They've got still got Darrell Henderson, and they drafted Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
Not that I think
they have
that Kyron
Rashawn
Williams.
White in Tampa Bay, but
Yeah, I just don't see him as he may take away some of those receptions.
Yeah.
That may be what Rashawn White does to, but he's a rookie, and who the heck knows if he's really gonna challenge Fournette. Whereas Henderson is established there. He can't stay healthy, but he's definitely gonna eat into Cam Akers' touches. And it's just nagging me a little bit at like what we saw out of Akers at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
But that line was atrocious, right? So
yeah, I understand that they weren't
we don't
run
know if
blocking
it's
well,
better.
but
yeah,
exactly. What did they really do to upgrade it? They lost Whitworth.
yeah.
He retired, right?
Yeah, and he did, and whenever I'm thinking about traits like this, I kind of use the offense as a tiebreaker, right? Like, I honestly think I'd rather have Tampa, even though I think LA Rams is really good, is still going to be really good again, right? Like, Akers is still coming back from an injury. Like, we kind of don't know. We know what Fournette is at this point. We know what he is in the system. He's been there, right?
Yeah.
Been there for 2 years now. So,
I definitely believe in Fournette more this year. But as a long-term asset, obviously Akers is younger. He's also in a really good offense, and I believe in their ability to upgrade their line. They're still going to have a chance before the season starts because we got June 1st cuts coming. I just saw a report that the Eagles are probably going to cut as Isaac Seumalo, who is probably not a Pro Bowl guard / center, but just about,
wow.
So if that guy's out there, that you know what I mean. There's gonna be some guys out there that they could probably upgrade with. And Seumalo is not old. I think he's been in the league 5 years. So, yeah, I would do that because also with the second, I'm looking at next year's draft, and maybe I can get somebody like Charbonnet in the second round.
Yep.
And if I'm getting 2 running backs and one of them's young for Akers, I like that. I like that a lot. And especially if I'm a top team and I want to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to tear down, in my opinion.
And that's what I'm so and I can this isn't someone that we're talking about, but this was a trade I did recently, kind of doing so you all know that I'm actually practicing what I preach. So this was a trade with the guy that beat me last year. Okay, so he was the champion. I was the runner-up. I got Tom Brady, Austin Eckler, and a second, which this team is terrible. Like, he was the 101 this year, and he's either going to be 101 to 103 next year. All right.
Right.
And this is a super flex league, obviously. And I gave up Gibson, the 110, my 2024 second, and then Foster Moreau and Marcus Mariota because he had Waller. And Mariota was kind of a throw-in.
Yeah, you won
So,
that.
huh?
I mean, you won that.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say that, hey, I won it or didn't, right? But hey, I got a Tom Brady piece that,
Mhm.
hey, I might only have him for a year. Mariota might only start for a year. I know
Right.
Tom Brady's got a
Mariota
great
might
chance. He might
Mariota
not.
might not
Yeah,
start for a
Ritter
year.
might be in there week 6, right?
Yeah.
So you got that, and then you got Eckler, which I think he's criminally underrated. I know he's older than people like, but he man takes care of his body. Man does not have a ton of tread on the tires, and he catches a lot of balls and is going to be in one of the best offenses in the league.
I said
So
this last night on
I'm all
Dynasty
about that.
Fever with Brian Ford. Eckler has absolutely found what they can't test for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever substance, well, I'm sorry, vitamins he's taking, they can't test for that. They don't
I
have
think
a
he's
test
just
for
a
it right now.
freak. I think he's on the Tom Brady level of I am going to take care of my body,
Mhm.
and
Right on.
this like football is life kind of. If you follow him on social media or anything like that,
He absolutely
he's pretty
transformed his
passionate.
body. I mean, he
And,
absolutely transferred his body. He was a little guy, and now he's a
yeah.
little thick as hell guy.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm hoping James Cook gets that kind of drive,
Right on.
because of his big brother, right? And he's just
Right.
like, I got to prove myself too, right? And he bulks
Could
up a
be.
little bit, and
Could be.
you never know. But that
I don't think
those,
that's going to improve his balance
hey, it might
on
makes
a
his
windy
feet
day.
heavier, right? Put a little weight in his
Right
shoes, but just want to show I'm practicing what I'm preaching here, even if I'm getting some older contending pieces.
Yeah.
Hey, if you can get that draft pick, especially for next year on top, I think it's a pretty good deal.
Anytime you can get a top 12 quarterback in SF, without giving up another quarterback, that's tough to do, even if it's an old guy. I think I traded you Aaron Rodgers last year, and I got Lance back.
Mm-hmm.
Which there were other things involved, but
Yeah.
that's an old guy for a young guy kind of thing. You're sacrificing years of competing for the obvious, definite. I know that this guy's going to perform. We still have zero idea if Lance is going to perform, or even if he's going to have a job.
That was the one I actually won, right? The one league was that in the auction league
that was the auction league. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Good job. Good job.
I won that one. Yeah. Thanks for that, Jesse. Gave me Kelsey too. It was real nice.
Oh, okay. Was that the same trade?
That's why I think so. That's why I had
okay.
zero auction dollars. So
I gotcha. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's why I killed it in auction. I had 1,700 auction dollars where the 101 was like 500. So yeah, I got
all
7
right.
or 8 players out of that.
Who do you want to do next?
So you pick.
So one that I really like just because of where he's valued right now is Allen Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like that offense, and I like him in that offense.
Oh yeah,
and
it's exactly what they need.
And there's no guarantee. Like, as much as I love Akers, right? Like, there's no guarantee their run game is gonna be amazing. I think it'll be fine, but we saw what OBJ was able to do, and of course they're still trying to bring him in, right?
Yeah.
But he's not going to be back for a while, anyways. Like, so half the season, I think you can get elite production from Allen Robinson, because everyone's going to be trying to figure out Cup, and Cup actually has the whole off season, to get that connection with Stafford, and I think Stafford's underrated. I thought the same thing last year. I bought Stafford super low when he got traded.
You saw how many shares of Stafford I got last offseason. I even got one this offseason. I paid up for it, but yeah, I'm with you.
And I mean, he's valued at a 12 right now, which is still, I think, pretty low. That's just around like a 2023 second. Honestly, I'd be okay giving a second straight up in this case. But if someone's wanting a younger player, like, I don't know, like say someone wants an Elijah Moore, I think you can get Allen Robinson plus for an Elijah Moore, right? And like, let's be honest, Elijah Moore's not gonna, as much as we like him, he's not going to be elite this year. He's not going to be the one scoring.
Maybe. I mean, we don't know that Garrett Wilson is going to just step in there and be the guy.
And we don't know if Zach Wilson has, besides him bulking up, right? We don't know how many, people he could support, right, as actual fantasy options. Whereas Stafford's proven
Mhm.
like last year coming in 1 year in, like he made Cup the number one wide receiver, right? So, and he made OBJ relevant again, like gave him the breath of life. So, that's someone I would be willing to move him, or just a younger player that I don't know people are super high on. It might be Sky Moore or something like that.
Would you give Gabe Davis for Allen Robinson?
Absolutely,
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
I think you could get that done
That's an
because
instant.
there's
I can't sell Gabe Davis anywhere.
really.
No one values him. Yeah, no.
It's
Everywhere I
weird.
have him, I can't sell him at all.
He had that huge game in the playoffs, and I did trade him a couple places there, and then everyone seems to have forgotten about him.
I
It's weird.
tried. I've tried so much, and I can't.
Huh?
Like, I
What are you
can't
trying
even
to
get a
get for
second
him?
for him.
You
Yeah.
can't get a second for Gabe Davis. That's insane.
No.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Wow. So in a 2 tight end, I know I remember one specifically in a 2 tight end league that's a heavy premium. I think it's a full point premium. I think you're in that league too, right? The double deuce. Yeah, you're in that league. I traded Gabe Davis in a second for Dalton Schultz, where you can't. It's very hard to get tight ends in that league. So I felt like that was a win.
Yeah. No, that's a good one.
And it was a late second. It was 210.
Oh wait, nope, never mind. Mike Kinney had a question in the chat. He said, "What surgery did Stafford have on his elbow? I heard he had something done on his throwing elbow. It said he went a minor." Sorry, I'm pulling up the article right now.
Okay.
Gosh, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah, I think it was a cleanup kind of thing. I don't think it was
a minor
major surgery.
procedure. I mean, last year he had thumb surgery in the off season, right? So
Yeah.
He said it was something that plagued him throughout the season.
Hmm.
Oh, it really doesn't want to say. It really doesn't want to tell me the details, does it? Oh man.
I'm guessing.
No, it doesn't say anything about the details.
I'm guessing because I didn't hear anything about him having any kind of torn tendons or ligaments. So I'm guessing it was like a cleanup procedure where he had some loose bodies in there.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he
tissue.
especially if he was playing on it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's not throwing during OTAs. He says his arm feels fine, but I mean, we know the Rams are like the most cautious of all teams as far as they don't put any of their starters in the preseason and stuff like that. So I don't think that's a big concern. If you can capitalize on that, be someone thinking it's a concern, go for it.
Elbows can be a little tricky. I don't know if he's had had a ligament, torn ligament in the past. I actually have no idea. But one thing that happened to me in an elbow surgery, what ended my baseball career, when they went in to repair, they left sort of like a piece that was attached that was sort of like frayed and rubbing up against other things, and it hurt like crazy, right? So I had to have almost immediately, not immediately, but you have to let everything heal and all the swelling go down before you can have another surgery. So as quickly as I could, I had a second surgery on it, and then after that, what happens is there's a lot of scar tissue that builds up, and some of that can break loose and be just sort of floating around in your elbow, and that hurts like hell too. So a couple years later, I had a third surgery, and that might have been just what.
And that's just where they like put a scope in there and pull the stuff out, right? Like I've seen that done before, where it's just like a super small incision, kind of with a camera. They get a camera in there, and then they get I'm no doctor, of course, but then they get
I was awake for that there. Actually.
Yeah.
The first two I was asleep, but the third one, when they did the arthroscopic, I was awake for that. It's very minor. It was like an outpatient thing. I didn't even stay overnight at the hospital.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried.
Have you bought Robinson anywhere this offseason?
Not in the offseason. I was buying him all last season because I knew because he was on an all-time low. You were getting him I was getting him as a throw in a lot of places, right? Like not exactly a throw in, but let's say in your villains league, I'm pretty sure I traded Mixon for Derrick Henry and Allen Robinson.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I knew Robinson was going to get an upgrade. I didn't realize it was going to be a Rams upgrade. I made money on that, but I haven't actually made money on it yet because I still don't think he's built up to a first round value, which I think he will be in season.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if you're going to buy him, this is the time.
I'm just trying to find. I know one spot where I bought him, so I'm trying to find the one trade that I did.
I think you could get him for a second round wide receiver, a 22 second round wide receiver. Say like, would you give Dotson for him?
Oh yeah,
Pickens.
absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
That's close though.
Okay.
Yeah. So
How
I
about-
got him. I got him March 27th for the 203, just for some context.
Oh,
So,
okay.
And I do feel like he's, which is right around where we're
That's
talking.
that range, yeah.
I think he's honestly gained a little bit of value, and it'll.
What about let's say you drafted Mechie and Tolbert. Would you give both of those for him?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'm not as high on Mechie though, so I know you love him.
So,
I mean, Tolbert's interesting because I think he's got a chance to play right away with Galluper. So, and that's what I'm looking at, right? Is that instant production kind of a thing. If I'm a heavy contender, you got to secure those wins early so you can guarantee, your shot in the dance.
All right, let's find the cutoff. Christian Watson.
Yeah, that's about it too. And he's usually an end of the first round pick, right?
Right, 110-ish.
So
I did see him go 105 a couple days ago. How about Sky
if
Moore?
I moved Watson for him, I would want a third back.
Okay,
at least
that's fair. How about Sky Moore?
You'd really have to be twisting my arm to get that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do Watson either.
It's just because Moore's got the chance to start right away too, right? Yep. And he could be amazing. Although I think he tweaked something in practice, his hammy or something like that. So
it's May.
I hate hamstring injuries, man. I feel like those always linger. I hate them.
The last hammy I got, I swear, I got it. What's that?
I said just like ankle sprains.
Oh yeah, high ankles. Yeah, but yeah, the last hammy I got, I didn't stretch enough, and I went on a run, and I just tweaked it a little. I swear that sucker was still bothering me a year later. Not like I couldn't walk. I was fine. But like if I tried to walk up a hill or jog up a hill, man, and it was just a tweak. I didn't tear anything. It just took forever to heal. That's how hamstrings are, man. So tricky, so easy to re-injure. But yeah, I'm not worried about that. It's May. But yeah, I'm not giving Watson or Sky Moore. I would give Pickens or Dotson just because I think that I think both of those guys have there are more red flags for them and less of a chance to hit.
I mean, Robinson could be there for a couple of years doing this level. Like,
absolutely.
If I got 2 years of top 15, which I think that's
he's 28. He could easily have 3 to 4 years in him. He's not really.
Who knows what he looks like with a good QB, right? So
yeah, I mean, his game it doesn't rely on speed, so it could age well.
Mike Kenny said he tried Calvin Ridley in a second for Robinson, I think.
And got denied.
I would take Ridley in a second. I mean, unless I'm a heavy contender, right?
Yeah, well, it depends. Like, if I have any hopes at all for contending, I'm not trading for Ridley.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Unless I really had the room, but I wouldn't. I don't. This is the season where I really look at my trade partners, and it's like if I'm trying to win, I don't want to be helping you out.
Oh, sure.
As much as possible, right?
I'm not even gonna bother trying because I know you don't want to. You're not trying to. If you're trying to win, then you're not trading veterans anyway, and you don't want to trade them to me if I'm your competition. So yeah, I'm not even trying that.
Yeah, I've got a guy right now. He's clearly selling the farm, and he wants his 2023 first back for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you got to blow me away. Like, I see what you're doing.
Right.
And he's like, well,
it's going to be a high first.
You've got 7 of them. And I'm like, man, I don't care. Like, yours is clearly going to be in the top 4. You keep doing what you're doing. Like, you can make it the 101 for me and I'll be excited, So
this isn't a breadline. We're not handing out free first round picks because we've got extra.
Yeah, no, you're not going to make me feel bad. Sometimes I do when I'm a commission in the league and I'm like, okay, I'll pay a little extra or, whatever the case. I do that sometimes. Just to make it not look as one-sided, or something like that. I hate
The
it,
only
but
thing
I do
I've
it.
ever really sort of given in on is once in a while I'll be going back and forth with a guy in different leagues about trying to get a trade here and there and there. And then if we get close on one, sometimes I'll just be like, all right, screw it. I owe this guy a trade. You know what I mean? This guy's been trying so hard. I'll give him something as long as I'm not getting killed. Once in a while, I did that with VIP a couple weeks ago because that guy just sends out offers like crazy.
That's who I was just talking about.
Nice.
Yeah,
he's a good guy, you know.
He's persistent.
He's persistent. He's
I've
easy
gotten
to
a lot
talk to
better
about it. Like if you tell him, hey, I value this guy higher, he's like, oh, okay, what about this guy then? You know, he's not like, we had that one guy in your villains league that just would harass everyone like
terrible.
Take my bad trade. Take my bad trade.
Mike said, try explaining that to my league. I'm not trading my RBs to your rebuilding squad for my win now team. Yeah, Mike, you need to let them know, hey, RB is the last position you want to build, okay, when you're trying to win. All right, so hold off on the RBs.
One of the biggest mistakes I see out there, one of the biggest mistakes that I've made early on in my dynasty career too, is trying to build around running backs in your starting lineup. You know, those are not.
When you come from redraft, that's what you do, right?
Yeah, so, exactly.
And that's how it happens. So
yeah, I came from one QB redraft. RB is king, and that's
so did I.
Yeah.
And then I slowly got into dynasty, and then I slowly got into superflex, and I have no one QB teams left. It's fantastic.
Oh, okay. I have my 3 big redraft teams, and my home dynasty league is still one QB.
Yeah,
which it always will be. It's too hard to convert to superflex. Too many people have a problem with it. And even if you give them 2 years to build up their roster, they're just
one QB is great for redraft because someone will always overvalue the QBs, which will make people fall to you.
No, this is my home dynasty league.
Oh, okay. I thought you said redraft. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I am in one QB redraft leagues too. 3 of them that I've been in forever. All right, so let's move on to another. I want to make sure we get to Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Before we're done, we got probably about 20 minutes left. That's just a super interesting one to me because that's a league winner.
Yeah.
So someone came knocking on my door for Derrick Henry the other day on a team that I definitely want to trade him from. It's in that villains league.
Yeah.
I'm sort of in a weird, slow rebuild. Because I didn't have enough, right, to trade away and get the picks that I wanted to rebuild. So I had to trade my valuable players for extra players that I thought were going to gain value, like Henry and Allen Robinson. That's perfect example. That's how I'm trying to rebuild that team. So now I have to trade Henry and Allen Robinson. So what are you giving for Henry if you try? Because he could, like I said, man, that is the prime example of a league winner right there if he's healthy all year.
And Henry's hard because more than likely he's on a team that was very good last year. I don't know if Henry was on many squads that didn't make the playoffs, even though he got hurt, right?
Or he got traded from a team that was desperate.
Yeah, I'm not. So I did trade for him when he was injured because he was just out of depth for me, and I was like, man, I can look up the trade now, but so he is the rare case where I would trade a first for him. I don't know if I do it right now, but it's something definitely I would do. But I would definitely I'd be comfortable down tiering. Like, do you think you could get, Henry and a first for if you gave away Swift in a third?
No way would I give up that for Henry.
Swift?
Yeah, I'm not giving up Swift.
I would.
So here's the way I look at it. I'm not trading Henry now unless I can get what I can get in season for him. And I want a first in 2 seconds or 2 firsts. Like his value will be there. So if as long as he stays healthy, right? And he already showed he's healthy at the end of the year. So he's not coming into the year with the injury. And he's got a great injury history. He was healthy for years, right? It's just that one injury that happened. And then he came back from it. So if he starts, hitting those 200-yard games, 150 and 2 touchdowns, and being Derrick Henry, someone's going to pay you. Someone's going to pay you. He's worth 2 firsts at that point to win your league.
So, I feel like you're almost saying that with the villains league specifically, but this is where you have to look at the league because a lot of the competing teams, especially, don't have 2023 picks. Like
Mhm.
I've got 12 of the first 24, and I obviously don't need Derrick Henry. So you're
Mhm.
not going to come knocking on my door, asking for a first in 2 seconds, right? So you got
Right,
to
but
look at.
I don't necessarily need 2023 firsts.
Yeah, no, I got you. I mean, I have lots of 2024 picks too, but and there are three teams that are clearly kind of tear it down, building it that have a boatload of picks. So a lot of the competing teams don't have a ton of picks,
All right,
and
so
so I would,
maybe I'm trying to make a trade to make another trade again with Henry,
yeah,
right? So maybe I'm trying to get.
and
All right,
and
let me ask you this:
that's fine. Yeah,
Would you give Kenneth Walker for him?
yes,
You would.
I would.
I would.
I would still try to finagle, like a third or something like that, or
Mm,
Kenneth Walker and a fourth for Henry in a second. If I could
mm.
get that done. I mean, gosh, let me pull up the trade calculator here. I think those are pretty close. Um, all things considered.
I
Um,
think.
yeah, Henry's a 22, Walker's
Yeah.
a 24.
Okay.
So
They're
I
both
mean,
going to go up in season.
yeah,
I would do that. I absolutely would take Kenneth Walker for Henry. I'd be looking to trade Kenneth Walker on a rebuild. Once we're in season and he's takes over the job. I think Mike Kinney said Penny's already limping in practice.
yeah, he is too, which is interesting, right? So
So that might be Walker's job out of the chute.
it might. And that's the thing though too is like I won't buy Henry right now. Like no matter what they say about Henry, no matter how he looks, I don't think he can gain a ton of value in the next 2 months. Like before the season starts. Can he gain any value? I
Who?
mean, everyone expects him. No, Henry.
Henry. Yeah.
Walker can, right?
Yeah.
That's
Henry
why I
can
wouldn't.
gain Henry
Yeah.
can gain value by being a freaking monster, right? By 150 and 3 touchdowns, and one of them is a 60
I'm talking
yarder.
about preseason, all
Oh,
preseason. So this is before
preseason.
week one, prior to week
All
one.
right.
We're
All right.
talking
So
until September. So that's why I'm not making this trade right now, is
so
what I'm
Mike Kinney
saying.
says he won't be 100% and he's too much overvalued for what he could be. Is the plate and the screw still in his foot? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. So I guess if he comes out and shows that he's 100% healthy in the preseason, I don't think that's going to happen though. He probably won't play in the preseason.
He won't. No, that's what I'm saying is I don't think his value is going to change. Whereas someone like Walker with
Mm,
Penny hurt, he could flash in a couple preseason games. His value is exploding, and then
mm,
you can get Henry in a first for Walker in a third if
mm.
someone's really losing their mind.
Got
So
what you're saying.
that's why I'm saying I'm not going to trade for Henry right now unless especially when you're moving a young player unless it's a really good deal.
Well,
Um,
I
and
mean, but
and,
you're
and
gonna
if
have
it,
so you're gonna do it in preseason. You're gonna hope that
yeah.
your young player gets some heat, and yeah, because Henry most likely won't.
And you gotta look at the team too, right? Is it someone where it makes sense? Like in your case, is it someone where it makes sense for them to move Henry, or are they a top three team? And you probably shouldn't try then.
Right?
What
Yeah.
you
Right.
get, but like I wouldn't go too deep if they're a contending piece as well to sell the farm for him to pry him
Yeah.
away
So
from a winning team. But I mean, Burks is not participating in every single practice, right? Call it whatever you want, but AJ Brown's not there anymore. Like the team is going to run through Derrick Henry again,
yeah,
and so
I'll tell you. I have one other share of Derrick Henry, and that's on a team where I lost the championship last year to Diddy, right? So Matt Diddy. So I think I would trade Henry for Walker in that league right now. So I finished second without Henry. Obviously, he wasn't playing in the championship last year. And I kind of consider him my big offseason ad. Without
Henry.
giving up anything, I get Henry back. Right. So I'm kind of counting on that to put me over the top. But if I have a chance to get younger at the same time, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. No,
Even on a
I mean, if you and like I said, if you can do that now, that's fine because I think Walker can gain value. Like I'm a value gamer, and
mhm,
now is not the time to get Derrick Henry.
Mhm.
So if I can get Walker, gain some value, flip it later, or flip Walker for someone else plus to use to get Henry later, and then I got 2 players now.
So we have like a 5 or 6 week window to go get Henry, right? Because once week 1 comes around and he starts scoring points, it might be too late.
We got an 8-week window. Aren't the first games in September? We got June, July, August.
But all right, so
and he's not going to be in preseason, right?
But you're saying you're not going to trade him until the your young player gets heat and you can get more, right? So that's not going to happen until training camp. That's July.
Yeah. For you mean like a guy like Walker?
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let him wow. Someone always, CJ Pro Size, right, has a preseason game, 80-yard run or something like that. I think I remember back in the day, right? You get that in a preseason game, and then people lose their minds. So I'm sure Walker will have just wait for it. Walker's going to have 1 or 2 crazy runs, but
right on. All right, so Breece Hall. Would you give Breece Hall for Henry? Or I know you wouldn't. What would you need back with Henry? So let's say someone had Henry and I don't know. Fournette. Henry and Fournette for Breece Hall.
I mean, that's fair if I'm really hurting on RB depth.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in that competing zone, like I can't imagine your RB depth is that bad. And I would like to have a young running back with, top 10 upside that I think Breece does have, as both the pass catching and, good runner. But like the offense is the tiebreaker. So I'm not saying I would sell Breece for Fournette and
are we sure Henry, the Jets are going to be a bad offense though? I'm not
we're not.
Sure.
That's the question, right?
I think
Tennessee could be a bad offense without AJ Brown. Who knows?
They absolutely could be. But I don't think so.
But the good thing is they're in a bad division, right? So
yeah, if Henry's healthy, they're not going to be a bad offense.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think I could personally do that for Breece, to be honest. I would have a hard time with my RB depth being that bad to make that desperate of a trade, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like the rest of your team isn't there if you're making a trade like that.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, if I'm looking at my team and I just want another depth piece. Yeah, you're probably right. It's better to just hold on to the youth. I mean, if you trade Breece Hall,
give me that second. Yeah.
If you trade Breece Hall now, you're. I mean, even though he was just the 101, he's still going to gain value if he turns into what Breece Hall should be.
There you go. Breece Hall 2024 second, Fournette, Henry 2023 first. I'll take it.
Okay. If I'm the Breece Hall owner, I probably would do that because now I'm upgrading to a first as well. That's a good trade. That's a good trade, in my opinion.
No, I meant no. The second's with Breece.
Yeah. You're giving up the second.
Yeah.
With Breece, but you're also you're upgrading to a first if you're getting Henry, Fournette, and you're upgrading to a first.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that a lot. Even if I'm not spending the first, even if I'm not taking a player with the first, it's just you can get such a higher quality player, veteran, for a first than you can for a second.
Yeah. Especially with the 2023 ones. But I mean, there's 4 or 5, RBs that people are looking at for next year, maybe. But at the end, there might be 3. But hey, you just reset Breece Hall with Derrick Henry, Fournette, who you could have another 2 years, and a young possible stud RB
Mike Kinney's still talking about the plate and 5 screws in his foot. Ran like crap in the playoffs. So all right, we're getting the other side of that. Mike Kinney does not.
Man, Mike Kinney coming with the fire tonight.
Yeah,
Mike.
I mean, he doesn't want to trade for Derrick Henry. So, I like this. This doesn't need to be an agree fest. We definitely need the other side to this. If we had Chad here, he'd be telling us we're both effing nuts.
He would. And like I said, this is where you really have to look at your teams. And like I said, don't like Henry. I will not trade for Henry right now. I won't do it. I won't do it for another 60 days at least. But throw feelers out there and see if it's not an overpay. And if someone's just down and someone's like, oh man, Henry was hurt and I got to rebuild, right away. Like maybe you can get him for 2 seconds or something like that. Yeah.
That's a tough one to nail down. I'll tell you. It's just
Um,
that the age and the injury versus the league winning possibility it's tough to balance.
yeah.
All right, we got time
I
for one more, maybe. Do you think?
yeah, we got to be quick.
All right, let's. Well, we've already talked about Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
Do you want to do? Do you want to do Brandon Cooks or Adam Thielen?
I kind of like Cooks.
Okay.
So I like Cooks because of where he's valued right now. So he is a 6.5 in the DTC. All right. Which is, gosh, that's like less than a 2023 second, right? And everybody kind of knows where Cooks is at, right? He's never, besides the year that he got injured with the Rams, he's never had below 1,000 yards. Okay, averages around 80 receptions a year. He was a wide receiver 20 last year, and that was in a pretty putrid offense.
Mm-hmm.
I just like it because he's the one there.
Yeah,
He's
just shown that he's always going to be productive.
He's just shown that he's consistent, right? And he's not worth a ton.
Looks
So
like he's past
get.
the concussion issues. Hopefully, it's still a danger. He looked like he was one concussion away from being out of football. Still,
agree. I did forget about that.
But he went through a clean year, so that definitely helps his value. You forgot about it. Probably a lot of people forgot about that. That's definitely
that was in the
huge.
Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
it was before he went to Houston.
Yeah,
that's why I think that's why the Rams were gave up on him basically. So what are we? All right. So I haven't traded him or traded for him in the offseason. I traded him away a shitload in season last year. Yeah, because I saw him performing, and because going into last year he had no value. You couldn't get shit for Brandon Cooks because of the the injuries, the new team, concussions, new team, that kind of thing. So his value had tanked. Once I saw him building value back, I was like, poof, let me get out. Because he was worth he was worth a second, and then at some point he was worth more than a second. I was getting like second and third value for him. I got Juju for him straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something I think anybody's doing now. But that was in season last year before he went to KC.
Yeah.
But that's why I did it, because, I'm getting younger. Juju's 25, and I knew that Juju was probably going to go to another team. I was hoping it was KC, and then it worked out, but I didn't know that was going to happen. So it's a speculation trade. You're not getting that now. What's he worth?
So, and this is interesting. So I'm looking at his like DTC trade value, and it's just gone down.
Really?
Even after last season. So like,
well, he's a year older.
Yeah,
he's
right.
30.
Like he was traded for Rager, a third and a fourth.
Ew.
Allen Robinson
I would
straight up
never.
for him.
Who? Allen Robinson?
Yeah, I would definitely take Allen Robinson over Cooks.
Yeah,
I think
he's younger and in a better offense.
And let's just be honest. Like Mills had good rapport with him. Like he made him 1,000-yard receiver. So like, and he might. Sorry, he's probably gonna get another quarterback next year, right? But he might get a better one.
He's also gonna be 31 at that point.
Oh, he's 28 right now.
Who, Cooks?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was 30.
No, he's 28.
Oh, okay.
He's a young dude.
Right on. All right, here's a good one. Mike has one in the chat. Would you trade Darryl Mooney for him?
I would take Mooney. I think Mooney has more upside. I think
even
they
on
both,
a contender.
Even on a contender, just because there's like besides Kmet, there's no one else there. So Mooney getting 1,000 yards is not.
I don't like
going to
that.
be that hard in my opinion.
I don't.
And
like
I feel
that
like
for
his
Mooney.
ceiling is so much higher than Cook's.
I feel like Mooney needs somebody else there.
I feel like he does too.
He's not an alpha. He's not gonna. You know what I mean? Even if he's funneled targets, it doesn't mean he's gonna produce like He's not AJ Brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I
He's a
mean,
little
when we're
speed
looking
guy
at ceiling, do you think Cooks has a higher ceiling than Mooney?
for this year. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I do. For 1 year, I do. Um,
I don't know. I just think Fields is better than Mills, even though it didn't show, but I think he's better.
okay.
And then
I'm also a little scared of Fields and
yeah,
some
and
of the
no,
talk
that's
about
fine.
the Bears not being all that confident in him at this point either. I hope I mean, they have no choice but to just roll with him through the next 3 or 4 years. They can't draft over him,
And
obviously.
see, Mike, this is where and I agree. I feel like Mooney is valued more, and that's why I said Mooney is because I
Mhm.
feel like Mooney's valued more, and
Okay.
he's over twice as much as Brandon Cooks. He's at a 15.
Okay.
So that's the case where,
Just from pure value, you got to do it.
yeah, can I get Cooks in a first for Mooney in a second? That's the kind of, I'm sorry to keep going back to that, right?
Yeah, but I'm not
But
doing that either anyway.
yeah, I just feel like the value's there more, and I think he's got a better ceiling. It doesn't mean I still don't like Cooks
Okay. Let's go with some rookies. Sky Moore or Brandon Cooks?
more.
Mechie or Cooks?
Oh, Cooks.
Okay. Mechie and Tolbert or Cooks?
Probably Cooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for the
I think that's
production,
probably a
too.
pretty good offer. Oh, we got Dave Donaldson in the chat. What's up, Dave Donaldson? It's been a while since we had him. He must have a weird Friday off. So he says Fields needs another team in the worst way. Poor kid is having Georgia flashbacks. Wow. Yeah. I know Dallas was in chat earlier. I don't know if he still is. I don't want to dog the Bears too much. But yeah, they're not looking like a well-run organization.
Dallas, yeah.
I mean, even with the new regime, they decided not to surround their quarterback with talent. I don't understand that, but Velus Jones, baby.
Oh, this was fun. This was fun. I appreciate it.
All right, so I guess we nailed that down. All right, so one more. Okay, Pickens or Cooks?
Pickens.
Dotson.
Cooks, but I feel like you can get a little bit on top of Cooks for Dotson.
Okay, so Cooks in a third for Dotson.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably right about that. If you ask for Cooks in a second for Dotson, people might laugh at you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So there it is.
I'm all value, man. I'm all value. So
Cooks is somewhere between Pickens and Dotson. I would probably take Dotson in a heartbeat. Just because I don't think Cooks's value is ever really. It might go up to maybe like a 10 or 11 in TTC, but it's never going to go up too much more.
I don't think it is, because that's the crazy thing. He had a good year last year, and it just went down.
And it went down. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Right.
So,
yeah, last year's probably what we're hoping for out of this year.
Yeah.
I
don't see why he couldn't do it. Right?
He's not going to be 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. We're hoping for 1,106.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So, I mean, I hope we helped you guys, out there listening to us in chat and when this comes out on podcast. I hope we helped you guys. I hope we helped you figure out, who you're buying and what for. Again, we're never going to give you these hollow shows where we're just running down lists of players that are buys or sells, or we're going to tell you how to do it and what for and in what situations.
Yeah, and with some of these guys, just start poking. You don't have to get these deals done right now. Like some of them, I said, hey, wait. Another one we didn't talk about was Tim Patrick. Like, for all we know, he could be the one there. Patrick, he could. I love Sutton.
I think there could be weeks where Tim Patrick gets the most.
Yeah.
Targets.
But I mean, Judy, if something happens and he gets a suspension, and he's worth less than Lazard. So, and
wait, what?
He's worth less than Lazard on the DTC.
Jerry Judy?
He's worth like no. Patrick. He's worth like 2.
Yeah, and I like him better than Lazard.
Worth between the
just
third
as
and
a
fourth,
player,
right?
Yeah, Tim Patrick's a heck of a player, man. He kind of came out of nowhere, but yeah, he's solid. He's got a little speed. He's got a little, he's got a lot of toughness to him and great hands. I really like him.
Yeah. So I think, especially what I want to encourage listeners is now's the time to really analyze your league, see where your things are at post draft, how much draft capital you have, look at the other teams in your league. And then that's when you start kind of making these decisions and these offers that make sense. But hey, if
Yeah,
you can get
right.
like the 2-for-1 swap, like the add a second to this guy, get this guy in a first, and you're not really taking a huge dip in production, but maybe you're taking, you have a 27-year-old RB as opposed to the 23-year-old one, right? But you're getting the first on top to be able to use later however you please, then
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm all about that life if I'm a top 3 team and a heavy contender. So that's what
the
I'm going
Casper
for.
special.
That's it, man.
Yeah, so just remember, guys, you don't have to make a trade right now. The season is months away. So
Poke the bear.
yeah, poke around, see what you can get done. And just don't trade your veterans now, unless you're getting what you expect them to be worth in season. So if you get that now, great, take it. But otherwise, just hold on to them, man. If you're rebuilding, those veterans aren't hurting you going into the year,
Yep.
So, all right, Mike, thanks for joining me. And I think this
I'm gonna say bye. I'm gonna be in Kentucky,
really
Fort
good
Knox,
one.
Kentucky, for the next month and a half or so. So
We will
we'll
see.
not be on
Mike is
here.
returning on my birthday, July 20th.
Oh, there you go.
We might have to do a special show that night.
Special birthday show.
Yeah,
I might be driving that day, so but
I might
join
be.
you when I'm
I
driving.
might be drinking
back.
that day. So
no. Well, I'm glad we got this in before I go.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Good luck. And you got a new group of cadets. Is that what's going on?
Well, it's their summer training, so that's when every ROTC from all across the nation, over 7,000 kids, go to this whole 30-day summer camp at Fort Knox, and we run around in the woods. And so I'll have around
war
40.
games?
So I'll have around 40 cadets from tons of different schools, and I get to grade them and help determine their future in the Army.
Mike's going from the minor leagues of Dynasty War Games to the major leagues of U.S. Army War Games.
We'll call that the minor leagues of Army. Cadets are the minor leagues of
Army
War
I see.
Games, so call it AAA. Let's give them some credit. They're AAA. They're not JROTC. So,
but at least it has real life applications as opposed to fake football that we play.
Yeah, right.
All right, man. Good luck and have fun.
Good stuff.
All right.
Take care, Jesse.
Later.
See ya.